Today, viewers, we're going to talk about how to use flash units for fill-in flash. Now, what is fill-in flash and how do you use it? Well, let's take an example of a film which is 100 ISO or ASA here on the Western meter, and you're in typically brilliant sunshine, so we turn it to between 13 and 14 on the Western scale here, which is brilliant sunshine, and we get a reading of 125th at f16, 250th at f11, 500th at f8, or a 60th at f22 and a 30th at f32. It all gives the same exposure, but what happens if your camera is limited to its maximum flash synchronizing speed? For example, on this Pentax Spotmatic, the maximum flash synchronizing speed is only 1/60th. So that would be a 60th of a second at f22 in bright sunshine. My Pentax ME Super is a bit better because here we have a flash synchronizing maximum speed of 125th, but that still means an aperture of f16. What happens if you want a wider aperture? You can't use it in bright sun. The best solution is to get a camera with a between the lens shutter such as this one, which is a 1956 Agfa Isolet. It's got a synchro computer shutter that's between the lens shutter, and it synchronizes at all speeds, so I can fit it to a 250th and a 500th in bright light. Now, what happens if we are in a situation such as here, where we got some ukulele playing young ladies on a boat in the Philippines? They were in deep shadow here, but there's bright sunshine on the background. Well, we use some flash from this direction here, and it fills in their faces nicely. That is the use of filling flash in a situation such as that. And also, there's a farmer here with his pig. I used a bit of flash here to lighten him up, otherwise if I didn't, he was going to be in deep shadow, and if I expose it for him, the background would be totally blown out. So fill-in flash balances the foreground and the background nicely. Now, there's a situation here where you've got a young lad with a crab, and there's backlighting. He's against the light because you can see the light on his hair, backlighting. But you put in some flash this way and it illuminates the faces nicely. Similarly here, where we have a family photograph, they're against the light, but you can see a small amount of flash has illuminated all the deep shadows that the bright sunshine has caused. Fill-in flash is very useful in balancing the contrast of your subjects. Now, here's some flash guns I use. I've got several showing different types of flash guns. We'll put it like that. Put it like that. Now, I've got a Sunpack here, Auto 36 FD. It's got the magic eye for automatic exposure, but you also have on the back a manual setting where you can control the exposure and lower it to whatever you want. You can have it, this is on 100 ASA, you can slide the scale to full power here, or you can slide it back to 1/16th power here. That is very useful for giving a little blip of light in situations where there's a bit of contrast, or if you're hemmed in by dark buildings. Now, this type of flash hasn't got that manual setting. You've got to do it by thought. So we set it to 100 as usual. The magic eye is here, but this time we've got a colour coding. we got it on, we can have it on red, we can have it on blue, and we can have it on white M manual flash when it gives full power all the time. So how do we use it? Well, if your daylight reading says you want a 125th at f8, you set this flash to the blue code here, and that says set an aperture of f4, but in fact you are using f8 on the lens, therefore you are underexposing the flash. So that is one method of doing it with that type of flash. If you have a Mcha Blitz, so my professional Mcha Blitz here, you've got a similar calculator on the back. Now here I can use any of these flashes, any of these apertures rather, with this flash by turning the dial and following the pointer around, which is not very well marked, but that's on 5.6 at the moment. So if my daylight reading says, say 125th at f4, f8, I can put the flash to 5.6, and that is one stop underexposed on the flash, or I can turn that pointer to f4 and the flash thinks I'm going to give f4, but in fact I'm giving f8, so that's two stops underexposed. If you have a camera such as my MZ5 Pentax here, this is a very good one because the flash, it's slightly broken, but I hold it up, the flash will go off, and if you put it onto the program setting, the flash will balance the daylight very well. You put it into automatic there, you put your lens to the A setting there, and it will automatically set the maximum flash synchronizing speed on here, which is 1/100th of a second here. Or if the light is a bit lower, it will set it to a slower sync speed, say a 60th or something. That will work it out itself, but you've got to have this type of camera where you can pull up the flash. Now what happens if you have the dreaded digital? Oh dear, oh dear. This is my dreaded digital. We switch it on, we go to the menu, automatic white button. Well, there's the flash one down here, so we come down to here. Now that is the green settings over the little lightning, which means the flash is on all the time as soon as I pull it up. But here we have a flash compensation that's on nothing at the moment. If I turn it, it's going to minus. Look, that's minus one stop, minus two, minus 1.7, very slight minus is 0.3, no, or if you want it more powerful you can have it plus. Flash compensation, I never use it on plus, I always use it on minus, about -1 is what I usually have it set on for filling flash. That's how you do it with a digital. We'll show you a few more pictures here. Here's some pictures I've taken with flash. Let me see if we can zoom them out. This was with a Rolly cord, with a 16 on kit, and it's the 1940s event at the Severn Valley Railway. That is slightly over flashed because they are a bit bright, but it did fill in the details nicely as it was very poor light. Here are two so-called Germans, but when I said Guten Tag, they didn't speak German, which was a bit disappointing. Here is a 1940s French gendarme. Now, I've done a 20x16 exhibition print of him and won me an award. You can see in his eyes a little catch light from the very weak flash that I used on my Mcha Blitz, set to -2 stops exposure. Now here's a little old lady who is 101 years old. I had to photograph her for a local newspaper. Now I used mainly daylight from a window coming this side, but the other side of her face was in deep shadow here. So I bounced the flash off the wall and it put just sufficient light into that side of her face and given a catchlight in the eyes there. And that won me a prize on the British Channel 4 television show. Now here's a situation where you don't use any fill-in flash. This is in Marrakesh in Morocco, because otherwise these ladies would have to be annoyed if they saw you flashing at them. But luckily there's insufficient light reflected up from the ground and I got away with it. That's also won me an award, a 16:12 colour print. Well, there's a very quick demonstration on settings for flash for fill-in use. Hope you've enjoyed it and hope you'll follow me and see some more of my videos. Thanks for watching.